Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the DJ Sessions presents the Virtual Sessions. I'm your host Darren, and right now I'm sitting in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington, and coming in all the way from just visiting Barcelona, but comes from Stockholm, Sweden, or just outside of Stockholm, only 250 kilometers away. We have Stefan hailing from Handshake in Space on the show today. Stefan, how's it going today?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing great. I'm envying that sunset I just witnessed pre-show behind you, those colors. You actually got to witness, it only happens twice a day, my favorite color in the world. And it's almost like a twilight. It's that section where you got the orange, then you got the blue, then to the dark
Yeah.
blue, to the purple, and to the black. And it's that right between the dark blue and the black, that purple zone right there. I love that. It's my favorite color in the entire world. Hence why the colors of our show are purple and blue.
Yeah.
Like that. So thank you very much for coming on the show today. We're going to jump right in here and let our DJ sessions get to know a little bit more about Handshake in Space. You ready for that?
Yeah. I'm
Awesome.
ready.
So first and foremost, where does your artist name come from? Because I was doing some searches on Google for you, looking things up, and kind of some other things came up other than Handshake in Space, the artist. So tell us a little bit about the meaning or behind Handshake in Space. Where did that name come from?
Well, I thought about it like some kind of friendship without boundaries. Like we are living on this planet, we are one people. There's like we just borrowing it from future generation. So I thought well, a handshake in space is very, very neutral. Like everybody will be friends in space because that's where you meet. You can't do much. But then I also saw that handshake in space is another thing. That's like two astronauts that meeting during the Cold War between United States and Russia. And when I saw the clip, it's also very similar to the idea I was thinking about. It's like they were enemies, but up in the sky, they are friends helping each other. So that's where it came from.
Nice. Now, if you could describe your music in three words, what would you call it?
Joy, happiness, and fun.
Joy, happiness, and fun. And how long have you been producing and DJing for?
Well, I've been DJing for quite some while, but I started with music only 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I'm more like a producer. I'm not a musician. I had a really rough time 4 years ago during the pandemic because first my dad died, and then a couple of months later I lost my companies, which I had for so many years. So I fell like into depression. I was really low for almost 2 years, and then this music thing came to me, and that was a way for me to cope and heal, and also with the lovely support of my family. So now I'm back again and I feel fine, but it was a hard time, actually.
And what would you consider your biggest inspiration to make music? What really was the driving force? You said you DJ'd for years, but switching into making music, what was that inspiration for that? I mean, it said to help you heal, to help you, was one of the things I think you just mentioned a few moments ago. But was there a ha moment, like you looked up at the clouds and you said, I'm going to put the tracks down and I'm going to produce and go get Ableton or Logic or whatever, Fruity Loops or whatever you use for your tools, and say, I'm going to start producing the music now? What was that inspiration, or was the key point of inspiration that you had?
I've been listening to a lot of music. Like I listen to music like 24/7. So that's my strong side. And now finally the technique has come for people like me also to do music. So I found this site. It's called Splice, they have all kind of sounds there, and I can just listen to, just clicking through, and then finally maybe I hear something. Oh wow, that's a really cool sound. That reminds me maybe of something, or maybe I just think, wow, that would be cool to have some drums or electric guitar tail or whatever, and then I do it together with other creative people. So I'm more like I get the idea. I have a vision for the track, but then I need help. So I take help with other creative people, and then we get the song together somehow. So, so I won't take credit for it like it's my song, because there are so many people involved in it. But I'm so glad and happy that also I can make music without the music knowledge. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the tools that are out there really can help nowadays. I remember back when I first was going to college, and I got some Roland products. I had a Roland MC505 and a Roland SP808. You could MIDI them together. One was a sequencer, one was a sampler. And that was my first introduction. I mean, well, no, I guess it wasn't my first introduction, because I was playing with like Fruity Loops 3 back in early 2000. I think I got that Roland gear somewhere in 2001, 2002. But, the ability to, use a computer program to make music was very interesting to play with. And I had come from kind of a musical family. My brothers were musicians, and I would play with their gear in the studio, and took a couple Charlie horses for that, because I wasn't supposed to play with the gear in the studio. But I learned how to read the manual and understood it, where they didn't read the manuals and just kind of push buttons. And I'm like, no, this is how you do it. And I was doing that from the age of like 6 years, 8 years old, playing in studios and stuff with gear. But, seeing it move to an electronic, sort of thing, when I was getting my rolling gear, to get a computer to produce music, you were looking at spending like $5,000-$6,000 just to get something to run the software, or you were looking at getting some rack mounts, and all that fun stuff to do what you need to do. It was a lot of hardware based stuff. And then as it's computers started to come into play, it made it a lot easier. I remember when I was working for Apple, I fell in love with Logic. I became a certified trainer to train people, not how to produce music, how to use the software.
Yeah.
It's like I learned Final Cut Pro, and I was one of 300 people in the world to train people how to use Final Cut Pro. I knew how to make movies because I was in video production and all that fun stuff, but I was teaching them how to use the software, not how to become Steven Spielberg, or George Lucas, But that being said, it's just really awesome that you can dive into that now, and take that on. And there's tons of resources out there. There's classes you can take. There's mentorship programs. There's YouTube videos on almost everything nowadays. You just type in YouTube how to grow corn and it's going to pop up. And no, that has nothing to do with music, but you can pretty much jump into that now. Do you feel the line between DJing and producing has gotten smaller over the years because of technology?
I think so, because there are a lot of DJs making their own music now. Maybe they didn't do that before. So I think it's the gap is much more narrow now, and with AI, it's going to be even more. So I think it's like for me, it's like when you hear, sometimes I can, during the years, over the many years I listen to music, then there's a new track out, and you can hear like, wow, I recognize those 3 chords, but they only got inspired from a short bit of that older track, and then it made a new track. So that's maybe what I'm doing. Like I found a little piece and I build something from that. Mm-hmm. But without that piece, it wouldn't be a song. So, but I think definitely the gap it's much easier now, but it's still very difficult. I mean,
yeah,
I'm learning.
I was listening to one of my favorite radio stations. I've been listening for 21 years now. It's Groove Salad by Soma FM, and a song by Global Communication came on. And I was listening to it, and I'm like, wait a second. I know this sample. I know it. I went and looked at it, saw it was Global Communication, but then realized they were using a sample from Tangerine Dream
Mm.
that was used in the soundtrack for the movie Risky Business with Tom Cruise and Rebecca De Mornay. And I was like, wait a second, I didn't know Global Communications sampled. So I went online, looked it up, and on Reddit, somebody said, yes, Global Communications sampled this track that they remade using the Tangerine Dream from like 1983 or so, whenever that movie came out.
Yeah.
Very early 80s movie with Tom Cruise, and then made that track. And I was like, that still sounds timeless to this day. You know, it's just an awesome track. So it's interesting, you know, you see that in the music industry. I think I was in the store last night and I heard a song. Gosh, they used the sample. Mariah Carey used the sample first back in the 90s with Fantasy. And it was a sample from an 80s song. Well, now there's a new hip hop song out that's using that same sample.
Yeah.
People my age might go, "Oh, that's the Mariah Carey," or they might say, "Oh, that's the '80s version of the sample."
Yeah.
People in the '90s, 2000s, may, "Oh, that's the Mariah Carey sample." But now they're thinking the new kids are like, "Oh my God, this is the new thing." It's like I remember my dad telling me when I was listening to rap music back in the days. He goes, "They just looped the beat that James Brown made." You know, they're using this disco beat. That wasn't the first time you're ever hearing this. I mean, my dad was like, yeah. My dad's older than, I mean, he's 82 this year, you know? So, I mean, he's heard a lot of music. So it's interesting to see how music gets kind of repurposed. And now, with, you know, obviously, like you said, AI, what's that going to look like moving forward? You know, it's coming with art. Know. I'm using it for my websites. I've seen some phenomenal stuff churn out. You know, the SEO world, I wouldn't even go down that route. They're going bonkers with this. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I do know a company, they don't make the music, but they you tell it what music you want. I could say, I want house music, I want it 128 BPM, and I want it in the style of Carl Cox, and I want a late night vibe.
Yeah.
And it'll go out there and curate you a playlist for Spotify and put all the songs into a playlist for you.
Okay.
It won't DJ them for you, but at least it puts you in a playlist. But as a DJ, I could go download all those tracks and then make that my set list for a show.
Yeah.
And it can be exactly what you want. So it's not making the music, but it's kind of grabbing the music and pulling it in for you, which is kind of interesting. But, you know, when will we see, and I'll kind of cut myself short and get back to talking about you. When will we see it where, you know, AI could make what's the term it's called? When you set your tracks up so you know where to do the cue points. Is it cue points? I'm not a DJ. I should know.
No, cue points is where you set different where you maybe want to make a loop or you want to start or you want to finish the track.
You might buy a song on Beatport and it might already have automatic cue points in it. Or the songs get uploaded to an AI website and you have these cue points that are already loaded in. And then you just load them in and it automatically takes this song and goes, it analyzes and goes, this is exactly where they should match up at. And we're going to crossfade on that. And it's going to perfectly match this song into this song. And then DJing is on autopilot at that point. You know. Anyways, enough about AI. I could talk a million minutes about that. Is the first record you ever bought worth mentioning, or is it embarrassing?
I have to think which one was. No, I don't think anything that you buy in music is embarrassing. I mean, at that time when I bought it, I probably loved it. So maybe I don't love it anymore, but I know. I think it either was, I don't know if it either was a Kiss album, The Destroyer, or a Sweet album with a Ballroom Blitz on it. So I don't remember which one I bought first, but I think one of those were the two first records I bought.
That's Kiss album. I remember Kiss. My brothers were into hard rock as a kid growing up. I kind of went more the disco pop into hip hop, into trip hop, into down tempo ambient, and that's kind of my groove right now is down tempo ambient. But if I got to dance, it has to be house music. I mean, I love trance, I love house, I love everything else out there, but Well, I'm a house head through and through. I just love a
Yeah,
good
but
soulful house
this
thing.
was in the beginning of the 70s, maybe,
Yeah, yeah,
73, 74. Maybe I was 6, 7 years old or something.
nice. Now, your latest release, I just saw this. This came out on June 19th, 2024. You're My Cheerleader.
Yeah.
Tell us about the inspiration, the meaning behind that track. What You're My Cheerleader is the title, and you're heralding this to be possibly one of the great anthems of the summer. Tell us all about that track and what was behind the meaning of that.
Yeah, I wanted to do like a track for the summer that have this kind of summer vibe that uh, with a happy feeling to it. So I thought maybe like a like a tropical house kind of vibe thing to it, and something that you can dance to, and like you feel like, uh, yeah, it has a nice vibe.
Now, I saw you had kind of an animation in there. Is that a real person in the video? What I was watching on YouTube, is that a real person that you kind of AI'd an image to, or tell us about the inspiration for that visual that you used there?
I've been using like two visuals, one for the album covers and one for the videos, and that the the videos I make is I use a company called Kyber AI. That's KAIBER, and that's you write the prompt. What do you want this to be about, and then they make it for you. But the problem with that is that you only get one chance. So once it's ready, it's ready. So then you have to pay all over again. So
Oh, oh wow!
so so that's also like something that uh, you have to be better at. That you have to be like really excellent writing the prompt. That's a tricky thing. To get exactly what you want. The other one with the album covers is also I use this AI site, but I have like female superheroes on it. That's what I've been using. So
Nice.
yeah,
So you would say is that so it's kind of like an AI generator, AI video generator, you would say?
yeah. But you have to you have to make a lot of decision before you make the video. Like, have to fix the prompt. You have to have to set settings. What kind of camera lens do you want, etc., etc. So, but it's in the beginning. I think that will only evolve and be better and better. So maybe you can use like your own footage and like add it to it, and then
Okay.
make that you combine like live and uh, real photographer and not real, like a combination of some kind.
Hmm.
But it's also a budget thing for me. I mean, I don't have a big budget to make a big music video, so it's a
And you mentioned that you just started producing a couple years ago.
yeah.
How many tracks do you produce in say a month, and how many end up being released on average?
I try to release one track each month.
Hmm.
That's my goal. And I don't know. Maybe I have like 3 times that. Maybe for every one track that I release, I had 3 tracks. So it's an ongoing process with the music, but it's also like I get a lot of ideas, and then I want to do something, and that's an amazing thing that the whole world is so much smaller now. Like, I have people that I work with, like they are in South America, or they are in Europe, or they are in Asia, or they are in Africa, or in Sweden. So it's amazing that the tools are there to bring people together to make music together. I mean, for me, like 20 years ago, it would have been impossible.
Yeah,
You have to, if you want to make a track with someone from South America, you have to go to South America. That would be really nice, though, but still,
totally.
I don't think the money will be there. So it's amazing that, and all these people that are out there, like, so they just like me, they love music, and they like when you connect together, it's such an amazing thing that you can do it, and then you go separate parts, and then maybe you connect together for another project, but still you have that moment, and I think it's amazing. I met so many nice people during these 2 years that I've been producing
Mhm.
music, and I think it's amazing.
That was one of the awesome thing. Pandy was not cool in any way, shape, or form how everything went
No,
down.
no, no.
But it definitely we were more of an in-person red carpet interview kind of thing. We had to wait till people came to the States and do interviews, because people, if you tried to do a Zoom 4 years ago, 5 years ago with somebody, they weren't ready for it. If you asked somebody to do a live video mix, they didn't have a webcam, they didn't have a studio set up, they
Mm,
couldn't do, they could do an audio mix for you, but doing a live video mix, it was unheard of. And so it really changed the situation, especially from an outreach perspective for us to be able to collaborate with, like, you're in Barcelona right now, we're doing this interview.
yeah,
I would have had to wait for you to come to the States, or even if I did an interview, it might have to be an audio interview. It wouldn't be a video interview. And if it was
yeah,
video interview, the tech, or people just weren't ready for it. Now we know how to look. We shave before we get on camera, or we do our hair. We wear a nice shirt. We aren't in our pajamas. We set up a little bit of a studio or backdrop. We get better audio from our sponsors like Mackie.
yeah,
Things of that nature. To really increase the overall global. And that's why I was pre-show. I was telling you, we definitely launched and got, instead of just being a stateside U.S. brand, we really launched it and went international with it. So, because I can talk with people from all over the world now, and it's just amazing how, and in your, line of work, what you're doing is being able to collaborate with people from all over the world. It's been going on for a while, being able to file share, like you said, 20 years ago, that wasn't a reality. I mean, I think people still had dial up 20 years ago. I
yeah,
mean, I was always on the forefront of having the highest speed internet I can get in my house, because I like to play video games. But, people were still on dial up at home, 56K modems, if they didn't have
yeah,
cable modems,
yeah.
So, that being said, it's kind of interesting of seeing that natural, that progression of things happen, and those that are taking advantage of it are definitely excelling. And then obviously the explosion of social media as well has helped, people
Mm.
to network and find like-minded people as well. Now, have you ever experimented with mixing audio and video at the same time? And if not, would that be something you might want to do in the future? You're already combining, you're making your music, you're going out there and using the generator to generate the video behind that. But have you ever thought about combining the two and having like a live audio visual performance, or DJing too? Not like with a VJ who can make visuals during a show, but you're the actual one mixing audio and video at the same time. Have you ever thought about doing something like that?
I, if I understand you right, like when I do like my live DJ set, that I would combine that with some visuals, or like I do it by myself.
Yeah, you would control the visuals yourself, and be able to
All
in
right.
real time manipulate it. But you're doing it on your own. You don't have like a third, like I would be over there as the
Yeah,
video
yeah,
guy going,
yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah. I think it's coming. I don't know if it's here yet, but I've been. I do go to a lot of concerts because I love live music. So, but both like electronic, but also like just a couple of days, Bruce Springsteen was here, and he's my well, he's one artist that I grew up with and I really loved during that time in my early teenagers. It was him.
uh-huh.
So, but I went to a concert. It came up as a Facebook memory today. Like I think it was like maybe 12 years ago. We had a festival in Sweden. It was called Peace and Love, and they had Dead Mouse there. And I've seen DJs before perform, but that was for me like, wow, can you do that as a DJ? Like get the connection with the people, the crowd, as a DJ with all the stuff that he had around him, with the visuals and the music. It was, for me, it was like mind blowing when I saw that. So yes, I think I would like to do more visuals, but I like the both. I mean, that I love, but I also love. We went to here in Barcelona. They have like called Brunch in the Park. And I went to see Fatboy Slim. And then it's like no visuals, It's just a nice party, people dancing, being happy, and it plays the music. So I like both. So, and then we have the big Sonar Festival in Barcelona also. So, and I've seen some shot that Eric Pritz and his visuals is like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now they're like 3D, like they reach out to the audience. It's
I
so
still got to make it out to Sonar. I've been to ADE the last 2 years, and that really changed my perspective
yeah,
of the music industry as a whole. I didn't make it to any of the big shows, but just being there and the networking possibilities of
yeah,
meeting people finally in person that I normally only talk to online or via email, just that alone was worth the experience. But I definitely want to make it to IMS and Sonar.
yeah.
I think, is IMS also in Barcelona, or is that Sonar
I
is in
don't.
Barcelona, I think, right?
Sonar is in Barcelona, but it's also in other cities. But
Okay.
the main base is Barcelona.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
the IMS, is that the internet? Where's IMS? I thought that was in Barcelona too. I
yeah,
can't
maybe.
remember all these
No, no,
festivals
no,
and
no, no.
meeting events, but it's awesome stuff. But yeah, I definitely want to make it to Sonar one of these times in Barcelona. Now, do you come from a musical family, or what got you started in all of this? I mean, it sounds like you kind of were a rock person, and now you're into electronic music. When did that shift happen, or were you influenced at a year early age, just by your own discovery, or was there a family influence there, and did you come from a musical family?
My family has no musical hearing at all. And for me too. But it's like I like all kind of music. So I like every from hard rock to jazz. So, and I go to everything. I mean, I go to both. But then I also like dance music. So also the electronic, but also with the disco period with Bee Gees and growing up with ABBA and with Chick and all those bands in the 70s, then moving on to with Diana Ross and Gloria Gaynor and everything. So and then I discovered Daft Punk.
Yeah, that's well. What did you think about them breaking up and now they're kind of getting back together?
I'm kind of hate it, but I also understand it. I mean, they've been doing it for so much long, but and with that last album, Random Accessories, I
Random
think it's
access memories.
Memories. Yeah, what can they do to top that? I mean, they finished at the top, and then he wanted. I mean, obviously one and a half. I think his name is Sebastian. I think he wanted to do other things, and I can understand that. So, but I discovered Daft Punk, and a little bit later I discovered Dead Mouse. So, and then all this scene in Sweden came, with Avicii, Swedish House Mafia, Robin, Tuvalu. So, and I enjoy a good party.
Awesome.
And people have that's the fun thing of being a DJ, that I can do the thing that I love, but I can also make people happy. So it's a two thing there. So
Now, you mentioned you're in Barcelona and you're there because you're visiting your son who just you had a grandchild. You have a grandchild now, correct?
yeah, I
And,
have
and
a little girl. She's 1.5 years old, and
nice. Does your family enjoy listening to the music that you make, or did they go to the shows when you go out and play to the events and enjoy partaking in that?
well, my number one fan is the little one. Like she's only 1.5 years old, but I test new songs on her, and then I can see, is she dancing to it? Yes, she does. And then I'm guessing it must be good. Or otherwise, I think if it's not good for other people, maybe I have my audience there, like 2-year toddlers. So, and there are plenty of them. So, and they're growing up. So now my family usually come. My wife is very supportive, like helping me, like shooting and filming and doing stuff like that. Now with my son, they can't come they have the little one, so they can come if I have like a daytime thing, but not a nighttime thing.
And are you do you have your own label, or are you working with a label right now to get your tracks out there?
No, I'm this typical do-it-your-own artist.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun, but not always. There's so many things that I want to make music. I want to play music, but then I have to do all the other stuff as well, because I don't have a label. I don't know if I want to be in a label, but I would like to climb a little bit higher.
And
So
people do not know what goes on behind the scenes, what people like you and I do to, you know, to make things happen and what we do. So, congrats to you for going at that independent route. I know it's like I said, there's tons of videos online, tons of things you can do nowadays that that you can learn how to do all this on your own. You can pick up a book and say how to start your own label, and then go through the steps, and have people help you out online even for free. So that's awesome. You're doing that on your own. What are the current top 5 labels that you go to when you're picking out track selections that are constantly putting out quality releases? Like you say, I have my top 5 that I go to, and I know they're going to produce the heat. They're going to bring my style that I love to play at my shows. What are 5 record labels that you go to for that?
I'm more like I hear a track. I'm not so keen on to labels, like everything that the label put out. It's more like I hear a track, and then you said I listen to it. I hear it. Well, you can Shazam it when you're out somewhere, or like you hear it on the streaming platforms. And then I have my favorites. I mean, now, like Jamie XX and Robin has a new track out that I think it's really is so great. So I don't have like the favorite labels that I look into. That's where I'm going to find new music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, people have their go-tos. I mean, a lot of people go to Beatport. It's just interesting how when you talk with people about how they do their
That I
track
do. Like,
selection.
I have those. I mean, a big port, of course, I have. Then you can like go to different genres and see what you like. But then I don't like remember which. Oh, they're on that label. If they're on Spinning Records or they're on some other. I just, well, I like that track, and then I put it in my collection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like you go back to the days of the record stores. I think I was just talking with somebody the other day. They're from Belgium, and they're like, you go to the record store, and there'd be 5 copies out on vinyl, and if you picked up those 5 copies, nobody else had that, and there was no file transferring, there was no file sharing. As opposed to today, I upload a file to say Beatport, and I could have 100,000 people. I could have 100,000 listens. People are checking it out. I could have 50,000 downloads of it, and that track is now in their repertoire of 50 to 100,000 songs that they can choose and pick up and do that. So, that's kind of really interesting on how technology has changed the platform of making it more music available to the masses, in a sense, as opposed to back in the day. You might get a white label, you don't know who produced it, and I don't. Do they even do white label tracks anymore of like as a digital download and say you don't know who this is, and then somebody comes out and says, "Oh, that's me. It was from Deadmau5, or it was from." Do they do those anymore? I
don't know.
I don't know if people use the term white label anymore. So that's kind of an old school term, but yeah, it's the go-to spots to find and curate music is a lot easier. Like I was explaining earlier in the show, you now have AI that can kind of curate you a playlist if you want to play it in the style of a certain artist. Do you remember the first rave or festival you ever attended, and what impression did that leave on you as an artist? Were you DJing before you got into your first festival or rave, or was it maybe you got to your first festival or rave and said, I want to be the person on stage doing that?
I kind of started DJing quite late. I was always interested in it. I remember when I must have been around 15 maybe, and I had a friend that he bought like 2 Technos vinyl record players and a mixer table, and he started DJing. I really loved what he was doing, but I also said it's too difficult for me. So I thought that the step for me to get in was too high, and it also it's like the money kind of thing. I didn't have that kind of money to like invest in a gear. So I started really late. Maybe well, it was before I moved to Rättvik, so maybe 30 years ago, maybe. So I'm 57 now, so it was like around maybe when I was around 30, and that's quite late. But then I always attended like a lot of music festivals, well, mainly in Sweden, and then there were like combination like of a live band and DJs. So we had this Peace and Love in a town near us, was one of the biggest festivals. Then we had in Propaganda in Stockholm, and then we had Way Out West in Gothenburg, and so that's where I'm at. I didn't do much of raving like in the woods.
Yeah, I started out. I was 18 years old, and I remember the first real underground nightclub I went to was called the Underground.
Yeah.
And and I saw Donald Glad. I always talk about this story, because I was going to top 40 nightclubs at 15, 16, 17, the underage clubs, but this club was 18 and over to get into. And then this event space opened up, called NAF Studios. And I went to my first rave actually was a rave called Green X and Ham. It was a Dr. Seuss themed rave. Really awesome. And that just really blew my mind, because at that time you had every kind of genre of people there. There was no internet, there was no cell phones, but you had, if you call it, you had ravers, you had people in costumes and SN, goth costumes. You had jocks like football team, the sports people. You had all this mix of all these different type of people coming together, and we were all there for the fun. It was all there for, music was driving us, and just remember that was a huge inspiration to get me into bigger events, bigger parties, and being that person. And then later on saying, why isn't anyone bringing a video camera here and capturing all this and documenting this? Somebody's going to want this footage later in life, which kind of led down the path later on to now we've evolved into the DJ sessions. It's just a really, really awesome thing to see the progression of that happen over the last, gosh, 32 years, or even, a little bit before that, 35 years, if you go back in history, to see how that whole progression has happened. And, the differences between the European nightlife festival scene as opposed to the rise of the U.S. festivals, and nightlife scene here. It's very interesting on the two different takes on that that's happened. Who's been your biggest influence when it comes to your career as an artist, and why?
Well, a Daft Punk. I'm trying like it's like when I have a finished track, I release it because that's the best track I could do at the moment. So, but then when I look back, I can feel like, well, it's not a great track, or it's not a bad track, but it's an okay track. So, but I'm hoping to get there someday. That I want to finish with a track that I can say, wow, that was the track that I was like super happy with. But it's so many more. There are so many things that has to combine. The music, the singer, and then the mixing part. From the start, the track sounds like this, and then the end it sounds like completely different. But my main inspiration is well, it's Daft Punk, and it's always going to be Daft Punk. But then I like a lot of other electronic musics as well. But I think they have a sound that really gets to me. Like it's really moving, and I like the way they make this electronic, but also sometimes kind of funky stuff. So, Daft Punk.
Yeah, I'd have to say that definitely ranks as one of my top 10 of all time. I mean, you've mentioned a number of names, Deadmau5 and Daft Punk and Eric Prides. You know, definitely take the cake for me. I definitely love listening to a lot of stuff they produce. Um, I think it would be hard for me to really ground and say who my biggest influence is musically. But because it really goes with anyone I've ever had on this series. Has always been an inspiration to hear their stories where they're just starting out, or if they're a 30-year veteran in the game, and being able to talk to them, it really motivates me to want to share or get their knowledge shared with our DJ Sessions fans, that maybe something they see on the show here could inspire them. And again, now with technology being the way it is, somebody can see the show and then reach out to you via your website or your social media, and maybe it turns into a collaboration, or maybe a mentorship, or just even a piece of nice advice, or maybe a listen, or something, like, oh, I listened to your track. Yeah. Why don't you master it, or turn up the bass line a little bit, or put some more, this, and just a little tip that could help somebody along to help the community grow. I think that's a really, the biggest influence you can do is really just help those out. And so it's a huge mission statement of mine to help those out that don't know. When Pandy hit, my phone was ringing off the hook, because I was the live streaming guy that had been doing a DJ show for 10 years, and I'm getting calls about copyright. I'm getting calls about which cameras to use, what software to use. How do I set this up? How do I get through copyright violations? I'm like, oh, no, so that was fun for the first half of 2022. But, all in all, it'd be very hard for me to pick a decent influencer, of somebody that I would, pick as my number one. Let's go with this, though. Speaking of number ones, who is your favorite DJ, and can you tell us why they're your favorite DJ?
It's a tricky question because
I don't want to get you in trouble.
no. As I said, I was really impressed with that mouse and the set that he did. But I also said a set with Richard Hortin. I think and that was also, and then I saw a set with Disclosure that also was really made an impact on me. So I would say now maybe Disclosure, because I think they got some really good tracks, and I was, when they're DJing, I like the vibe that they have. It seems like they have. For me, it's important that you have fun. I mean, it shows when you're DJing if you love what you're doing. Like, do you really want to DJ? Like, do you love DJing? And that's the guys in Disclosure. I think you can see that they love it. So, well, Disclosure done.
Yeah, that's also another tough one for me to choose. Who would be my favorite DJ? I always, like I said, go back and just remember that first experience that I saw of an electronic music DJ. Now, I'm not saying it was my first DJ I ever saw, but an electronic music DJ that I saw, up in the DJ booth, was very, very awesome, and very, cool. It kind of blew my mind that, that the crowd, the way they were moved, what they were doing was so different than the teenage underage clubs that I was going to. I was like, where am I at? And I just kind of eventually immersed myself into that, and just never looked back. So, that was just really awesome. Um, when you get on stage, do you become a different person, like a different persona, or are you a different person off stage? Is it, I'm Stefan outside and family life, but when I get on stage, I'm Handshake in Space. Is there a personality shift that happens there, or is it I'm Stefan and I'm still Handshake in Space, same person?
I think I'm very much the same, but I think I make bigger gestures when I'm DJing. I can see when I look at clips when I'm DJing, I can see that uh, I wouldn't say why I'm doing that, but it's like, wow, am I doing that? And so yeah, it's a little bit of change. I doesn't go like totally bananas and wild and crazy when I'm DJing, but there is a more lively version when I'm DJing. I'm also trying to take time to communicate with the people, and also if people came up to the DJ booth, I would take time to listen to them. And sometimes it's very interesting, and sometimes it's not so interesting. But you take your time anyway, and I do.
I mean, there's the debate. I mean, this is, you mentioned a couple people, and we've talked about them: Daft Punk and Deadmau5. The masked DJ.
Yeah.
And was that a shtick? Are people still doing that? Are they coming out and trying to have that alternate persona when they come on stage? I know your bio, kind of says you're an anonymous Swedish EDM artist. And how is that? How, now that you're getting kind of out there, how are you able to still maintain that anonymity of being kind of anonymous? Like how is that? How do you protect that, or how do you do that?
Well, I have to update my website. I can hear that because I was anonymous until maybe a month ago, and then I opened up and
Okay.
said, "Hi, I am Handshake in Space." But it was also like I mentioned that I was feeling really. I had a really a depression for. So I think that step was the final step for me for this healing progress. My daughter posted a video on TikTok, uh, and when I saw it, I like I don't want to start crying, but I usually do when I think about it. But it was such an amazing thing that she did because I want to be the best dad. I want to be the best husband. I want to be the best friends. But during a period of time, I wasn't. Uh, I wasn't there like the dad I want to be. And she explained it so well in that video, like my whole journey from going from down up to normal again. So I think when she posted that, I thought, well, okay, I'm here now. I'm well. I can front it. I can be a handshake in space. This is me, Stefan. I do this. So it was a part of the process, I think, and now, well, I definitely have to update my website because I'm not anonymous anymore.
Yeah, I mean, bios are always changing. If you want to get a new
Yeah,
bio, and just shoot that over to me when you get it, I will definitely make sure we get the right information
yeah,
out.
yeah, 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 yeah.
No, I've worked with artists in the past too that they kind of, that is their thing. They don't want to be known. Or we used to have a DJ on the show. I think it was a true DJ. It goes by the name of Angry Muffin.
Yeah.
Angry Muffin was the producer, but you would only see a picture of a muffin. But
All
Angry
right.
Muffin was the producer. It was kind of funny, that kind of thing. But people are going to eventually have to come out and announce who they are. They're going to have to play shows, and people are like, "Who is that?"
Mm.
And then they'll get out there. So you know, um, so I can totally understand the anonymity part of what you want to do there. What is your ultimate goal as a DJ and then slash producer? Is there a goal behind all this? Are you trying to strive? Is it making number one Beatport tracks, or is it a sold out festival or tour? What's your goals here?
My goals as a DJ is that I would like to have more gigs as Handshake in Space. That would be really nice, like to play my music together and mixed in with some other music that you do in a set. That would be an amazing thing for me to do. Then I'm not striving for like fame or fortune. I love making music. That's what I want to keep doing. I want to do more music and put it out there. So that's what I want to do.
And if that's that's an admirable goal, because you want to stay focused on. Some people see the shiny object and the ball keeps moving here and here and here and here and all over the place, but staying focused and making that happen, it definitely helps
Yeah.
accelerate. You get to your goals faster. People kind of sometimes look at me and think I bounce around and do all these different things, and really in my mind they're all connected together. And so if somebody says, what's your ultimate goal as a producer, I kind of have those clear defined goals and the benchmarks that I want to hit, to know that I'm moving up a rung in the ladder, or I'm moving and progressing forward. And there's always some awesome trials and tribulations and steps that sometimes you climb those three rungs and then you get set five rungs back,
Mm.
or take two steps forward and take four steps back, and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm back here again. But it's entertainment. That's how things happen. That's how things go. When you don't listen to dance music, what do you listen to? Because again, it sounds like you have a very big palette of music that you choose to listen to. What if it's dance music is off the shelf for today?
Yeah. All right.
What?
I've listened to quite some jazz because one of actually my best friend, he's a jazz musician, so he has taught me how to appreciate jazz. Before, for me, it was just a lot of sound that's coming from everywhere, and I couldn't understand it. It's like turn it off. I don't want to listen to it. So I mix that, I can have a period of jazz, but then I can have a period of pop or rock or hip hop or whatever. Usually it's like there is someone coming, and I'm going to that show. Then you start listening more to that, who is coming. But then I play a lot of music with my grandchild, and now it has become a lot of HANDSHAKE in SPACE music for her, but also some jazz, which she loves.
Nice.
I've been listening to Kamasi Washington a lot lately.
Who is that?
Kamasi Washington, I think he's maybe from LA. I don't know.
Huh.
He's big jazz musician, but he also works with a lot of hip hop artists like Kendrick Lamar and.
Oh, okay.
But he plays the saxophone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love a sax. I love a good sax.
Yeah.
What do you listen to podcasts or live streams or radio shows? And if so, what are the top three shows you would recommend that our DJ Sessions fans go out there and listen to? Whether it's for inspiration, to chill out, to dance to, or just overall get information. Do you listen to podcasts and live streams or radio shows? And if so, what three are the top ones that you do listen to or recommend?
I'm afraid to say this, but I don't listen to podcasts. I don't know. I don't know what it is with it. I have to have a picture with it. Just listen, or like if you listen to audiobook. Like I've tried so many times, but I lose focus because my mind is so occupied with so many things at the same time. So it just wanders away, and then you lose track, and then you have to rewind and listen again. And so I don't think I listen to a lot of radio though, and I don't do much YouTube either. I'm kind of strange in that way, I guess. But I listen to a lot of music. I have music on like 24/7, all kind of different music. I'm still loves a good album. I love the concept of a good album. So I'm afraid I'm not your guy to get recommendation. This one is great. The
Thank you.
DJSessions.com.
Thank you.
That I will highly recommend because I've been watching it and I'm enjoying it.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm no good there.
That's all good. And like I was telling you a little bit before in the pre-show, is that, we're ramping back up where we plan to have, at least 32 interviews a month, Monday through Thursday, exclusive guest mixes, There's the news story section on our website. You can always go and find something. We have our events that will start streaming live, our rooftop sessions, our mobile sessions, our silent disco sessions, and other things as they come up. We're working with some other event promoters in the area here to do some really awesome stuff. So thank you very much for suggesting our show as one of the top shows to watch. Wrapping this up, and how do you envision your life 10 years from now with all of this going on? You have DJing, you're getting into producing. Where do you see yourself in 10 years from now? Where would Handshake in Space, where would you want to be and saying, I want to be doing this, and this is where I'm at 10 years from now?
My primary goal right now is I wanted to be the best granddad that's ever walked the planet. That's my main focus now. That's the little one. But for music-wise, I would love to have played some, not as like but like as opener, maybe like at a festival or something as a DJ. That would be really, really fun. Or music-wise, I'm hoping that I'm still doing it, and that I'm still like, for every track I make is like, wow, this was better than the last track. And I'm also hoping to get more collabs, because now I do much of the stuff I do by myself. So maybe I work together with someone, but I want to also maybe work a little bit closer, that maybe you can meet, that we talk on the screen now. It's great. But if I were in that room, there would be another chemistry to everything, I guess. And I think also that with music, like if you are in the same room together, that's when something maybe extra magic can happen. So I'm hoping to get there, to have done some of that stuff also with other people. But priority number one is to be the granddad I want to be.
Awesome. Hey, congratulations. I know she's 11 years old. Or I'm not 11. I'm sorry, a year and a half. I don't know how I got 11. I meant to say a year and then one and got
but within 10,
one and a half years
10
old,
years,
correct?
10 years time, she will be 11.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Thank you for the save there, Stefan. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to let well, you have an exclusive mix you're going to be giving us. First and foremost, you have an exclusive mix you're going to be sending our way. Super excited to get that. Actually, I already have it saved. We'll get that up and running in our show here. So thank you again for that. Is there anything else you want to let our DJ Sessions fans know about before we let you go?
Good question. I just want to say, like, be kind and take care of each other. There is so much shit going on all over the world, and like the children, they have done nothing wrong. Whatever they are, they just happen to be born in this wrong place. So donate whatever you can to help children in need, wherever they are. So that's it. I don't think there's nothing. I'm Stefan. I'm from Sweden, Stockholm.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm 57 years old. I love making music. You should try it. It's never too late.
Where's the best place people can go to find out more information about you?
Well, it's my website, which has to be updated, and it's handshakinspace.com. But I'm also on, the usual social media stuff like Facebook, and they are going to point there somewhere. People see it. That's a long finger. But I try to do my best on like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So you will find me there also. But all links are on the website.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Stefan, thank you very much for coming on the DJ Sessions. It was a pleasure. And as always, we'll definitely be following up with you here in the future, because we like to bring our guests back on the show because they're always up to doing some new stuff, new projects, new songs, new tracks, new events, tours, all that and more. You're going to go find that information one more time at HANDSHAKEInspace.com to follow him on his socials, his YouTubes, check out his video, his latest tracks. That latest track, You're My Cheerleader, just came out June 19th, 2024. Check that out. I was listening to it before the show. It's pretty damn good. All right.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. This is Darren, and that's Stefan Holling from Handshake in Space. He's coming in from Barcelona. I'm coming in from the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington for the DJ Sessions Presents the Virtual Sessions. Don't forget to go to our website, thedjsessions.com. You can follow us on Meta, X, Instagram, TikTok, every social media out there. Sign and subscribe to our shows on iTunes and have them automatically downloaded if you missed them live online. We have over 600 news stories published to our site, exclusive mixes, exclusive interviews just like this one right here, and more at thedjsessions.com. And again, it's Darren, and that's Stefan for the DJ Sessions. And remember, on the DJ Sessions, the music never stops.